Hello, everyone. I am Mercedes Price Harry, the chairman of the Lee County GOP, and welcome to the Chairs Chat. Today, I have a dear friend of mine, Christy DeVigili, and she's not just a friend of mine, but she's also a patriot, and she's also an incredible activist in terms of education. We met during our school board days back before being involved with the school board was cool, probably around 2021, 2020. I was there in 2020. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you were even there. Were you part of the masks, the anti-masks mom? Yeah. So I came in right at the tail end of that. I came in like maybe late May, early June. And so did you ever work with Corey and Daniela Dye?
Yes, I did.
Okay, yeah. So love them. They moved to Tampa, homeschooling their kids. Anyhow, so this is Christy DeVigili. And so Christy, if you will, sort of introduce yourself, tell us what you do. And and then just give us a couple minutes about Christy and like kind of how you grew up and if you're married and a little bit about your kids and all that good stuff. I'd love to hear about that first.
So as Mercedes said, I'm Christy DeVigili. I am a born and raised Floridian. I'm multi-generational. I work for an organization called Florida Citizens Alliance. We proudly champion education reform here in the state of Florida. And we'll get into, how we do that a little bit later, but I've got 3 beautiful children, all girls. They are getting ready to be 20, 18, and 14 now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And all girls.
All girls.
God bless you.
Yes. It's lots of emotions.
And technology.
Yes. Yeah, technology for sure. But I think even more emotions, though.
Yes, for sure.
But they're good girls. My oldest is she is pursuing a law degree.
Wow.
So she's taken after her mom's heart here.
What kind of law?
Well, so she thinks that she wants to get into not criminal defense, but criminal prosecution. So, and maybe work for some form of government. And I said, oh, so you're really interested in making no money. And she, she doesn't really care so much about that. But,
This new generation, they don't.
Well, and that's good.
Yeah, it is good. Mm-hmm. It is good. I mean, it's good if they're not living in your basement, right?
Yes.
They'll realize once they start paying taxes and everything comes, they're like, oh, I need more money.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, this is my response. Well, actually, all of my children are very responsible. And she's been paying her own bills for, since she was 16.
Awesome.
We helped her purchase a car. But when I say helped, I mean, we helped. Like, she purchased her own car. She pays her own insurance. She pays for her own cell phone bill. Like, she pays for her own stuff. We pay for the roof over her head and, all the food that she eats, but she's really responsible. My 18-year-old is a vet tech here in the Cape and lives in her own apartment. I mean, she's
awesome.
Doing well for herself. And my youngest, she's 14. She is, it's funny because we've been homeschooling her since going into second grade. And when you're homeschooling, you don't keep track of grades, like you are, grade levels. You are working on mastery, you're mastering subject areas. And so somewhere along the line, we just flaked out on like what grade she's actually in. And so, all of my friends right now who have children that are the same age, they're like, well, yeah, my so-and-so is in 8th grade. There's this person's in 8th grade. My kid's in 8th grade. I'm like, well, mine's in 9th. And they're like, well, she's not supposed to be. I'm like, well, I mean, she's doing 9th grade work. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. She's in 9th grade.
That's homeschool.
So it is.
They're always like ahead of the curve.
And I'm just so proud of her. She just started a turning point chapter for homeschoolers in Lee County.
Nice. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
And I just really didn't expect that from this one because she was very little when I ran for office back in 22. And man, you want to put a strain on your family, run for office. Yeah. And that really just put such a bad taste in her mouth in particular. Because mom was gone all the time. She was just she was at home with dad. And I really didn't think that she was going to want to get involved in anything civically minded. And she was just so against it until what happened with Charlie. Yeah. And, as much as I tried to keep that from her from seeing that, the internet is, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah.
And she was able to locate that anyway. And, that really made an impact on her. She came to me and said, Mom, what do I do? What can I do about this? Yeah. And well, that's how her turning point chapter got started, which I'm super proud of her about. What else? Oh, I'm married to, I should have talked about him first. I'm married to an amazing man. His name is David, and he is a combat veteran. He served in both IDF and, I mean, not IDF, in the Iraqi war and the Afghanistan war. Wow. So he is a patriot through and through. He is the only reason why I am able to do all of the things that I do in this world.
Yeah, you do a lot.
I do.
We'll get to that.
I do. And it's because of him and his support, honestly.
Yeah. Can't do it without the husband.
No, not at all.
Got to give credit to the husband.
Yes, I love him dearly. Yeah. And so, I mean, I grew up here, in Lee County. Went to school at Colusa Elementary and Colusa Middle. Went to high school at North Fort Myers High. I mean, I am definitely, Lee County born and raised. I love this county. Nice. That's why I ran for office.
Yeah. And you've seen a lot of changes, and things have gotten wild at times, but we're still blessed. This is an incredible county. We're the talk of the state sometimes because we have really strong leadership, and love or hate them, right?
Yes.
They're strong leaders.
Yes.
And so let's fast forward a little bit. So thank you for sharing a little bit about you. I want people to figure out who you guys are and kind of see that we have really incredible people, not only in the executive committee, but also in the community at large. And as we move forward with this whole Chairs Chat, the goal is to bring in people from the community to talk about the different things that you guys do for us. So school board, talk to us about how you kind of tripped into that and how that brought you to like the state level education, and then how you got in to where you are today. Okay.
So I worked in ministry for a very long time. And when the world went crazy back in 2020, and everything shut down, so did our church at first. And then we took everything virtual. And just very long story short, I ended up stepping down from my position in church ministry in August of 2020. And that set me on this trajectory of just learning. I mean, I spent quite a bit of time just learning and sitting in the silence of, what am I supposed to do with my life next, God? Like, what am I supposed to do? And so I started attending, now at the time, it's now called Liberty Scholar, but it was Liberty First University, which is Chris Ann Hall's. Her online college. And I took every course that they had, from the constitutional sheriffs to our founding fathers to the foundational documents. I mean, I took them all. And I spent a year just really learning. I've also spent well over 100 hours learning and practicing in common law. So really just building this really strong foundation in what our country was founded on. And in that, I got involved with the Florida Freedom Keepers, and I became their Lee County, representative. Mm-hmm. And it was through that I then was introduced to the Dyes, and they invited me to my first ever school board meeting. And it was at this school board meeting, and it was all about masks. And I remember I showed up, and it was a madhouse. I mean, you think that the last school board meeting that we had, where people were protesting outside about the teachers and their ridiculous comments.
Kirk comments. Yeah.
If you think that was crazy,
I've seen crazy.
Go back to the meeting the first one that I was at. Yeah. There were so many people there that not only was the entire boardroom filled, they had 2 overflow rooms that were filled. And I just happened to be in one of the overflow rooms. So I was watching this meeting from, on a TV monitor in a room that was completely closed off from the rest of, the school board. Right. And I'm sitting and I'm watching this meeting, and I have no intention of speaking. I did not speak. And I'm just watching all of these people, all these parents, to be honest with you. It was parents. They were getting up and they were speaking to this board. And I'm watching this board, they're totally checked out. Some of them were on their phone. You had patty cakes, just coloring. I mean, you got, and then our superintendent at the time, he may as well have not even been in the room. Yeah. Because he was not paying attention to anyone. And these parents, they weren't just going up and just, irate and just saying all kinds of crazy things. They were passionate about the issues, and the issue was masks at the time. And I remember thinking to myself, man, what privilege this must be to just sit on your thrones and just judge the people like this. But okay, public comment is over with, and I'm watching the boardroom just clear, like all of these people, hundreds and hundreds of people. I'm watching them just clear the room, and as they clear the room, people in the room that I'm in start leaving as well. We didn't leave. Myself and the Dyes, we stayed, and that meeting continued on for another 2.5 hours, I believe. And it was in that 2.5 hours, this board made decisions. They signed contracts, with the Archdiocese of Venice. I remember that one. They talked about at 200,
which is a whole other conversation for a whole other day.
Exactly. They entered into a locksmith contract that was, some obscene amount. I can't even remember how much it was, but it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. And but my point is, I watched them make all of these big decisions with no one in the room.
Right. Because everyone wants their 2 minutes for Instagram and TikTok, and then you never see them again.
Well, I don't even think that people realize how many important decisions are made once they leave the room.
But you've got to know, right?
Like,
well, if you
not
just show up
if your only experience is that 2 minutes.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I just think, when do you think they're making the decisions, right? So why aren't you at those things? I'm just speaking from my frustration with you, where, we would be there till 10 o'clock at night, holding each other's babies, doing the best that we could to make it work with our kids and our husbands. And we were sacrificing so much time trying to understand the ins and the outs. And then when it was cool, or when the news caught wind, then everybody would show up. And what I didn't like about it, and I want to shut up because I want you to keep going, but you got me hot, because I'll never forget us making headway with the school board, and they didn't necessarily agree with us, but we had gotten to a point where we were having a respectful dialogue to some degree, right? They still didn't listen, but they were at least able to somewhat pay attention to what we had to say. And then I remember all of the conservatives coming in and just screaming and yelling and attacking Gwen Gittins. And we had built a relationship with her. She was the Democrat. She was one of the Democrats, but she was, we had areas where we were aligned with her, and she was willing to work with us and move the needle on certain things where we had common ground. And people are just showing up, screaming at her and making all these accusations of her when they were totally off the mark. And I remember you and me and a couple of others screaming, like, she's one of our, like, she's with us on this one. Like, stop it.
Yeah.
So people don't realize that when you get ginned up by the news and you show up and do your 2 minutes for your TikTok, or just to feel good, like you did your patriotism for the day, sometimes you're really just helping to burn it down and ruin what those of us that went and really did the work have tried to accomplish. You just burned it all down, because now they look at you as one of us and they look at us as one of you, and you just went up there and acted like a fool. And I don't know. I just remember so much frustration during that time, because we never had support. And then when we did have the support, everybody was all ginned up without the facts, and they just sort of like lit the place on fire. But anyhow.
Well, no, you're right. And
it doesn't help.
I have so much to say about all of that, because some of it, yes, you're very right. And I think about how all of that was then, when we had a Democrat majority, and then how it is now when we have a conservative majority. And I don't see a lot of difference. Yeah. Now in how the masses handle us.
Okay.
But I do see differences in how the board views us.
Sure.
I don't care what the masses think of me, honestly. So I hope you're watching.
They are.
And I've been called a turncoat, and I've been called all kinds of things because I don't come to school board meetings anymore. And I want to address that really quickly, because I don't come to school board meetings anymore because I don't need to.
Yes.
And I don't.
That. Yeah. Tell me about this. We talked about this. And I think this is a great example of what I've been trying to tell people.
I'm happy to talk about this, because I'm very proud of this.
And yes, you should be.
I don't need to come to school board meetings every month anymore and raise Cain, because I have a relationship with the board members. I have a relationship with district school board or district people that work in the district. So if something comes up, or if a community member makes me aware of something, which happens quite often, I simply make a phone call.
Yes.
I make a phone call and I say, hey, bud, what's going on here? And because I have built relationships, that's all I need to do.
Yes.
I don't need now, because they know that if I need to show up to a school board meeting, and there have been times when I have shown up and I have spoken and I have let them know beforehand, hey, I'm going to do this regardless of your position on this, because it's not for you, it's for the people to hear. And they know that. But I don't have to go if there comes a time where I have to surprise them and show up and try and make them look bad. Right. Well, something has gone very, very wrong.
Yes.
Because now I'm friends. I'm friends with the person that I ran against.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually worked at an event with him last night. We hosted an event last night for work, for my job, and he was one of the panelists.
I love that.
And yeah, I called him there. We invited him there because he is reasonable. And there will be people out there that will speak so badly of my opponent, and his name is Sam Fisher. He's the chair of the board. And there are people on our side that will speak so badly about him.
And he's such a good guy.
He really is.
We went camping with Sam
a long time ago. He's
10,
awesome.
10 plus years ago. You just never know how you build relationships with people. That's the other thing I try to tell people too, is like, you don't know how I know Christy. So, and you don't know, maybe you and I went to high school together, and that's how I was able to connect in different ways. So you just never know what's going on with people. But Sam, yes, I adore Sam.
Well, not
he's
only
a good
is he
dad,
a
he's a
great guy,
good husband, he's a great person.
You know, people need to understand that our government as a whole is corrupt. Okay, as a whole. Doesn't matter if it's red, blue, purple, you know, it is corrupt as a whole. So what we did when we got rid of that Democrat majority and we now have a conservative majority is we replaced one set of issues for another. We will never get rid of all of the issues. Never. But that does not mean, and I'm going to use a school board phrase right here, that does not mean that we throw the baby away with the bathwater. You know, we have to find common ground.
Yes.
We absolutely have to find common ground, because I would rather sit and have a conversation with Sam about something that we do not agree about. There are some issues that we just don't agree about. I have brought up issues that the people have brought up about, especially even, you know, some of the new school locations, and, you know, it's just some of those things that where you see that there is a large majority of the constituency that is very upset. And you know, I've point blank asked him, hey, why are you guys doing this? And he's told me, and my advice to him always is, Sam, you need to find a way to express that publicly in a board meeting, because you're telling me something that, you know, that the people need to hear. He's like, well, what we talked about it in the workshop. Nobody watches that, okay? Like, I watch your workshop meetings, but nobody, the regular people, they don't watch the workshop meetings. They don't make the time, and it's no fault of their own, you know. But they don't make the time to watch those things, so they've not heard you say these things. They need to hear you say, even maybe before public comment starts that day, either you or the superintendent needs to address these issues. If you're not going to speak about something, say that you are not going to speak about something. Like, preempt some of these things if you see that they're an issue. And he has. They have. Yeah. You know, and that right there shows progress. We are never going to have a perfect board, ever.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I would so much rather, I would take our board that we have today, any day of the week over the one that we had in the past. Yeah. You know, the only way I got anywhere before was through the stick. You know, I didn't get where I was with the board by being their friend. They had no interest in being my friend. You know, so what did I do? I made an absolute mockery of Patricia, you know, of
Kathy?
No, not Kathy. Of
Patrika.
Patrika. Yeah, I only call her. I know. I only call her by nicknames that we've given her. So I forgot.
Listen, I'm terrible. I'm the queen of nicknames.
But Patrika,
and I don't even mean it
what's
seriously.
Her face?
But
I want to call her by her nickname too. But Betsy Vaughn.
Oh, Betsy.
You know, I only got anywhere with that board by making them famous for all of the atrocious things that they would do and say. And there's no reason to do that with the board that we have now. Even if I tried to do that, I wouldn't be successful, because there is not anywhere near the amount of bad as there was before.
Right.
And to sit there and to have some of the people in our community, especially people that, like to say that they are on the same side as, if there were sides, that like to say that they're Republicans. It's kind of shameful that we've done this to them,
right. Right.
just because they came from a certain,
campaign.
Yes.
Let's just say it. Let's just say it. And, I don't want to, I don't want to act like we don't have problems, right?
No, we do.
And you and I both are very vocal about the smear campaigns.
Absolutely.
We know them both firsthand, or at least secondhand. You definitely
I know
it
about
firsthand.
them. Yeah.
But this is the whole point of what I've tried to explain to people in my own circles, or I guess used to be my own circles at this point. But a lot of my membership too is if we want to move the needle, we've got to be respectful. I don't have to like the elected officials, but while I'm here, even if I can replace every one of them next year, I'm stuck with them and they're stuck with me. So how am I going to impart influence if I'm going to be on Facebook just tearing them down the way my own circle tears me down? Yeah. Oh, this leadership is useless. This leadership is worthless. Well, how do you know? Because
they have a point there, though. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Totally kidding.
Watch it. But I'm like you. I will pick up the phone and I will ask, what's going on? Like, what, why am I hearing this, that, or the other? And what I find is that 90% of the time, they have a reasonable explanation. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. But for them, it makes sense. And I think until you've actually been in the seat, you really don't know how difficult it is. And I learned that going from activists, loudmouth activists, like everybody's, terrible and thinking that, screaming and yelling was going to get me somewhere, to where I started working now.
Yeah.
And once I was on the other side, that's when I realized, like, wow, the public just goes wild with these rumors and the things that they make up. And then they gin all these people up and they assume that because you hired somebody or you met with somebody or you did lunch or took a picture with somebody, that all of a sudden, you're one of them. And then they just cut you off completely.
Oh, yeah.
And I see it happening already with the candidates. We're rolling into 2026 and we've got these new candidates. And I met with one the other day. And if I had listened to my own people and the things that they were saying about this person versus the hour-long conversation that I had with this person where they explained to me what their upbringing was like and how they came to this conclusion and the passion that they have for what they're doing, I think that we just need to keep calling for civility, and we need to not just do it with the left. We need to do it with ourselves, with our own, for sure.
For sure. And we need to remember that, everyone... We live in a society where you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, well.
So, and that is, that we need to remember that.
Yeah, please.
And that is in every scenario. And when did we start being the judge, jury, and executioner in the character assassination of everyone's lives?
Yeah. Well, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I just want to say this, and then we do need to move on. I want to move into your current position.
Sure.
The crazy thing is, the people that were that were aligned in our understanding that we don't like smear campaigns, we don't like whisper campaigns, it's not right, it's not Christian, are kind of the leaders now in smearing and creating these smear campaigns and going online and smearing people over rumors and assumptions. And it's just wild to watch. I thought we weren't those people, and I've watched us not me, I refuse, but I've watched our own people become what we hated, right? So it's kind of sad and it's kind of scary.
Shame. It really is a shame. Even thinking like when people watch this, there are some out there that are going to assume that what we've talked about is about them. And my comment to that would be, man, if you have a guilty conscience and that's how you're feeling, well, then you need to assess maybe what you're doing and saying, because we've mentioned no one.
Yeah.
And, to sit there and point blame like that it's really unbecoming. And, I have firsthand experience of running for office in this county, and I got to experience what it's like to have the whisper campaigns be formed around me, about me. I don't like a lot of our elected officials. I don't like many of them.
Yeah.
There are, and there are some that the first chance they get, they love to take a picture with me. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that it's it really chaps the, on, for
some.
For some. But it's a picture, guys.
It's a
Get over it.
picture.
Okay.
And again, we don't get anywhere burning people down.
No,
right?
It doesn't change how I feel.
Why would you even listen
know?
to me? Like, I'm to the point now with some of my own folks, like, I don't even listen. Like, you send me an email, delete, because it's so negative. I'm just here to be productive. And you start to learn. And I think that's the thing I learned too, is like, if you're complaining, oh, our elected officials don't listen to us. Oh, I can't even get an appointment. Yeah, well, I can probably tell you why you can't get an appointment.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to meet with you if I know. There's no way I am going to meet with someone that I know has been out there disparaging me. There's no way. It's not, because I know going into that appointment that it's not going to be productive.
Lose. And every little thing you say and every little like twitch of your eye, they're going to be like, oh, well, when you did that, I know it meant that. Yeah. But anyhow, we're on a soapbox.
Okay.
And, you and I could go on forever about that because we have a lot of experience in that. But both of our goals is to change the way that we influence and impart our influence on our elected officials. And I'm really proud of you because I've seen you do it differently too. I remember talking with you and talking about how we get further with honey versus vinegar. And now you're living it, right? So talk to us a little bit about what you do now and how you help with education and how people can get involved and help you.
So as I said before, I work for an organization called the Florida Citizens Alliance. And I mentioned how we champion education reform here in the state of Florida. And we do that a few different ways. The first way is through legislative policy and advocacy. I sit on our legislative review committee, and man, I'll tell you, most years, I think last year we reviewed, 138 bills, and it was a lot of bills. And that was a year where we had a divisive, divisive House and Senate, and it's going to be similar this year, but that was, kind of like a little bit of an off year. We did even more the year before that. We host candidate forums. We do voters guides. So if you are a candidate and you're running for anything, out here in Lee County, and you'd like for us to host a candidate forum, please reach out. We would be happy to do that. We are a nonpartisan organization.
How can they find you?
Well, they can find us. Yeah, sure. So they can find us at goflca.org. And, please reach out. Now, but that's just one of the things that we do. So we also have community grassroots teams. And that's actually how I got involved with the organization I'm working for now. And we have these teams called Kids First teams. And they are advocacy groups, throughout the state. And I like to tell people they're a lot like Moms for Liberty, but we are a lot less... we are a lot less divisive and a lot more productive. And I say that with all of the love in my heart for Moms for Liberty because I love them very much. But we do things differently. Sure, we can rally up people and we could show up to school board meetings and we can do those things. But really where we get stuff done is by building relationships with the people that work within those different forms of government. And then we can have meetings with them. And we really, really push a lot of change that way. I mean, I am proud to say that Florida Citizens Alliance was a huge part in us getting the first opt-in. We have the only opt-in in the entire state when it comes to the controversial and, well, we're just going to be honest, the pornographic books in our school libraries. It is because of the relationships that we built with our school board members, and we could sit there and we could have a productive dialogue. We could give them information and they would receive it. And I'm really proud to say that our district is the only district in the state that has that.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
then what I do specifically with Florida Citizens Alliance is I'm focused on solutions. So many, myself included sometimes, would say that our education system is irreparable. And it's not because of any one individual. It is because it is a system that has been around for a very long time, and it has remained unchanged. And with any system that has been around for as long as our public education system has been around, to not experience any significant growth or change, well, it starts to become stagnant and stale. And we've seen our kids, their reading and writing, their reading and math rates. I mean, what we see is not even the truth. We see a conflated number, because if we got to go to even how we grade things, if we really looked at the way that we grade things. I remember back in 2023, maybe it was either 20. Yeah, it must have been 23. There was a school board meeting where they made the decision to switch from a quantitative grading scale to a qualitative. And here's little old me. I was like literally one of the only people at the school board meeting when they were making this decision that day. And I'm like screaming it from the rafters. I'm like, do y'all even know what this means? Like, we're going to go from taking a numerical grade point average and we're going to just throw that out the window, and we're going to now give them letter grades, and we're going to average those letter grades out. So like, you can't even begin to have real numbers when you're dealing with when you're dealing with a broken grading system. So we don't even really know how bad the problem is.
Right.
But going back to solutions, what I do is I help families and churches start non-traditional learning environments throughout the state of Florida. So what that looks like is, getting kids into homeschooling, people that want to start homeschool co-ops, hybrid learning centers, micro schools, everything up to a private school. We've helped to get them started. And so far, since 23, when I started with them, we have helped to start, I think, 26 across the state, and they look as different as each one of my fingerprints. I mean, they are thriving educational institutions, and they're doing things just in such a different way. Like, one of them that I always brag on is a school in Miami that the entire school they have children with 504s and IEPs, the entire school. And if you know anything about, a 504, that's given to you for behavioral reasons.
Right.
And IEPs, that's given a lot of the times for children that are dealing with special needs. And what we have seen, the gains that we have seen from the children in this particular school is remarkable. We've seen kids that, one of my girlfriend's kids, he's now 14, but when he started there, he was 12. And when he started, he quite literally could not read. He couldn't read. And by the end of the first semester, he stood up in front of his church and he read an entire book of Psalms. Like, that is what we're seeing in these schools. It's incredible.
That is incredible.
So that's really what what our heart is. Our heart is not to just point out all of the problems. And yes, you can legislate things, but really at the end of the day, parents need to take responsibility for their kids.
Yes.
And for their kids' education.
Yes.
And if they're not happy with the public education system, well, it's very easy. We have the governor has given us such a wonderful opportunity with these vouchers, and we could get on.
Yes.
That's a totally different topic for a different day. But you don't have an excuse anymore.
Yeah, you have options.
Yeah, if you're not happy, you have so many options available to you now. And if you don't know how to do it, please reach out.
Call Christy.
It is so easy.
Right.
I will happily help you.
Yeah.
We're so lucky to be in Florida.
We are so blessed to be in
lucky.
Florida. So blessed. Yeah. Thank you to Governor DeSantis and everybody that fights for our freedoms.
Yes.
It wasn't an easy thing to do, but sometimes you got to do it. You guys are a nonpartisan organization,
Yes.
and you focus on values. So if people share the same values, check you guys out. GoFLCA.org.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Christy DeVigili. I'm so proud of you. I think about where we were 5 years ago and where we're all at now, and just never quit, right? And keep
proud of you.
learning. Well, thanks, Mama. Thanks. Pray for me.
Yeah.
I need prayers more than pride. I'm kidding. Anyways, I'm just so glad. Thank you so much for coming to visit us today. And hopefully we'll just keep taking care of our kids and getting them in the right places. And we'll keep working on that educational system.
Yes. Well, thank you.
We didn't get here overnight, and we're not going to fix it overnight.
No,
so
that's very
we're in
right.
this for the long haul, right? This is a lifelong thing. It started generations before us, and it's going to take more than our generation to fix it.
That's
So
right.
I appreciate all that you do for us and our children and for our state. And God bless you.
God bless you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to this episode of the Chairs Chat. Again, if you're interested in learning more about how you can help your children and their educational journey, please reach out to my dear friend Christy DeVigili at goflca.org. And if you want to learn more about the Lee County GOP, and when you come to our meetings, you meet people like Christy, and then you have an entire network of people who do all kinds of different things. So find your passion. LeeGOP.org, LeeGOP.org. Click on events and find out more. Thanks so much. Have a great day.